my friends. We are back here together in my little void, of a studio. And yes, it's still on my radar. It's still on my radar to redo this. And someday this will be the most beautiful podcasting studio you've ever seen. But you know what? With the topics we talk about sometimes I don't know, the void just feels kind of right. Is that weird to say? I don't know. I think I'll miss the void when it's gone, but someday I'll build a real proper podcast studio and it'll look real cool. But for now, the void, it's there's nothing wrong with the void. Sometimes you just have to go to the void, you know what I mean? But anyway, hi, hello. Welcome back to episode 5. Really our first milestone number, right? I mean, it's like probably 10, 15, 20, I don't know, any like big, number, factors of 5, they're memorable. So episode 5, we made it to week number 5. Our last episode in October as well. So there's that. But yeah, hi. So this week we got a good amount of questions. I think we're going to have a lot of content to talk about. I also wanted to debut a new segment, and I'm going to call it the Song of the Week. Well, I'm not going to call it that. That's just kind of the basic ass bitch name that, anyone would call it. Because we don't have a fancy name for it. Just call it the Song of the Week because it's my Song of the Week. And I don't know. I don't know how long it will go on, but for me anyway, I think it's fun to kind of share a song, and you can listen to it, and maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't like it. That's okay. But I can share a song, and you can listen to it, and it's pretty cool. So the song of this week is called "Anna Begins" by the Counting Crows, and it's a band I saw only once live. Actually, I would like to see them again. Kind of missed some opportunities too, but don't worry, I'm sure I'll have another day. But anyway, this song, it's a beautiful song. It's called, like I said, it's Anna Begins is the name of the song, and that's spelled A-N-N-A, just so you know, because sometimes Anna can be with one N, but it's spelled A-N-N-A, and then space, and then B-E-G-I-N-S. In case you didn't know how to spell begins, I just taught you that as well. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm not a spelling teacher, but if you really wanted me to, I could be. Okay, all right? If you need some help spelling, you just hit me up. You just let me know. Actually, I was pretty dang good at spelling. I was always a pretty good speller, to be honest. But anyway, that's besides the point. So this song, it's a beautiful song, and basically the inspiration for this song was when the lead singer Adam, he took a trip to Greece way back in the day, and he met a girl there. The girl was from Australia, and he's from the United States, obviously. And this is many years ago. This is like over 30 years ago that he wrote this song. So, there wasn't it was not as easy to keep up with people when they were very far away. You know what I mean? It wasn't in our current age. Like in our current age, we've got all we can video chat and all this stuff. So you can have a long distance relationship, etc. It's still hard, but way easier. So anyway, he met this girl, and the song is basically about realizing they're falling for each other, but they can't. They can't continue on past the trip. Like they can't have something beyond this trip that they're on, because there's no way to make that work. I'm from Australia, you're from the United States. How are we going to make that work? Again, in this day and age, maybe you make it work. Back then, not so viable. So anyway, this song's just about kind of you kind of just his belief is it's just a fling, it's just a quick thing and then it's gonna be done. But all this time he was kind of pushing her away. They kind of their bond grew. He was pushing her, but they were growing closer while that was happening. So it's just kind of about I guess kind of the idea of that, sometimes you might push someone away because of whatever the reason may be. I guess you push someone away because you think maybe it won't work, maybe it's scary, maybe whatever it may be. For whatever the reason is, the core meaning of the song is sometimes you might be pushing someone away and not even realizing that as you try to push them away, it's actually just bringing you more and more together. So yeah, by the end of the song, he kind of realizes that too. He's not really prepared to say goodbye. You know, the whole time that's all like it's not a serious thing. But then by the end, he kind of realizes like I can't. You know, there's a very beautiful line that he sings very extra well in the live versions, which the live versions are good as well. There's some of them on Spotify. If you listen on Spotify, you can find them there as well. But yeah, he basically at the end of the song is a really beautiful, singing of the line, "I'm not ready for this sort of thing," and that's kind of where that comes from. Is like I'm now after all this denial, I'm not ready to say goodbye, even though this whole time I was trying to push us apart. It just brought us even closer. So. Yeah, it's a really beautiful song, and I hope that you will. I hope that you'll listen and maybe like the song. It's a good song. Counting Crows is a good band in general. Definitely one of my favorite bands, and so I hope that you will go listen to the song of the week. Well, I talked about the song of the week for a while, but it's a song that that means a lot to me and always has meant a lot to me. And I kind of started listening to it again this week. It'd been a little hot minute since I'd listened to it, and it's been kind of my obsession this week. So I hope you will listen. No, I can't do that. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, go listen on Spotify. There's some live versions too that are really, really nice. So go listen to those as well. There's one that's like, I don't know. What is that album? Let me see if I can find the name of it. It's called, fudge. Live at Chelsea Studios, 1997 is the name of the live version, which is very nice. So, give that a listen if you would like to. And if you wouldn't like to, well, don't do it because, yeah. All right. So now that the song of the week is done, we're on to the actual questions. And question number 1 is an easy one. Wow, I can answer this one so goodly. So goodly. The question is, are we allowed to ask super personal questions, or are these more so just for general topics / questions? I thought I'd made it pretty clear, but maybe it wasn't clear. I thought I'd made it clear, but maybe not. You can ask whatever you want. There is not a limit, and I will never I've talked about it in some of the. I'm pretty sure I did, but you can ask whatever you want. If I don't want to answer it, or if I want to kind of censor my answer, you have the right to ask whatever you want, and I have the right to censor my answer should I deem that it's too personal. But I don't think anything could be too personal other than maybe something is overly inappropriate. Like if you say like describe in detail all of your sexual experiences or something like that. That's just over the top. I was actually trying to think of thinking of something. There's not a lot that I would say is wildly, I definitely can't talk about. So if it's something like that, describe in great detail every sexual experience you've ever had. Okay, I probably can't do that, but I would still probably dumb down that question and say something. But don't ask that next week. Please don't ask that and make me dumb that down. But no, basically you can ask whatever you want. If I don't feel like answering it, or if I think it's too personal, fine. But I have been as open as I feel like someone can possibly be during the podcast the past few weeks. So I'm not sure that there's anything that would be off limits. Okay? So I would say ask anything you want. Literally anything. Personal questions are fine. Deep questions are fine. If you don't like those kind of things and you want to ask a shallow question, feel free. But I like talking about serious things. So there is no shame. Please ask whatever you like. Don't be shy. Again, the questions aren't seen on the screen. So I can, if I need to rephrase the question before I even read it, I can do that. So yeah, don't worry. Ask anything you want. Whatever's on your mind. Whatever you want to ask me. If you want to ask me, why are you such an ass? You can ask me that. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Okay? So thank you for the question. Question number 2. How does it feel to be looked up to by someone like a dad? By Lang. Well, Lang, let me answer that. So I am someone who's always I've always been very passionate about helping others in the sense that sharing my knowledge. From the time I was really, really young, people told me I should be a teacher, and I spent a lot of my time in my life tutoring kids, and I really I tutored a lot of different people, but I never got into teaching because like professional teaching beyond like tutoring. I mean, I guess that's professional because I made money, but like professional teaching like as a career, I never got into that because I mean, life is hard and you need money, and teachers in the United States don't get paid that well. So I needed to have a job where I could survive because unfortunately, again, it would be nice if I could just do full-time stuff that's nice and helpful to the world. But unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society, and I need money. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I need money. So, unfortunately, I didn't take up teaching, but I always love the ability to share things with others, and I think that is where having the ability to kind of just share my knowledge about different things, and I don't even. It kind of feels like egotistical to say knowledge, like I'm so smart about this stuff, but I have been around, and I just kind of I think my interpersonal skills are amongst the is that too egotistical? They're amongst the best. I mean, I don't know. I have good interpersonal skills. I can connect in a lot of ways with a lot of people, and I think that's a skill of mine. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like the opportunity, and I know why Lang is specifically asking this question because I've helped him a lot with some stuff. Sorry, I had a little water break. I don't know. I've been very parched today. I've been drinking a lot of water today. I mean, I drink a lot of water in general, but I've been extra parched. But anyway, yeah, I just I really appreciate that, and that's kind of always been my goal is to connect with people and be able to help them, and to be able to like I said, there's nothing wrong with looking up to others. There's people I look up to, and I think there's like a stigma like oh like don't look up to me, like I have flaws. Like, it's okay, I do have a lot of flaws, but I'm sure that there are ways you can look up to me, just like there's people I look up to who I know have flaws, but in certain ways I look up to them as well. So I embrace it. If there's something that I do that you like, that you can look up to me for, then that's really awesome, and I'm very, very grateful and humbled by that. So yeah, it's a good humbling feeling. And again, I think a lot of people sell themselves short, and they don't even realize there's so many ways that people can look up to them. People that just don't have a lot of self-confidence and could never fathom that there are ways that people can look up to them for. But I think a lot of people have a lot of people looking up to them, and they probably don't even know it. So I appreciate you. I mean, I don't know. Technically, this is just a question. But I'm assuming it's saying you look up to me, so thank you. If I'm reading it wrong and it's just like asking in general, then I apologize for assuming such a thing. But no, I think we can all look up to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. It's always, for me, a humbling feeling. And more than anything, I'm just happy that I can help you, because like the cycle doesn't end, right? Like if for example, in this situation, Lang looks up to me for, let's say, my ability to help others when they're, in certain ways, okay? So now Lang is going to continue that. And then someday, like Lang might be in my position, he's streaming, and he can help people, right? So I'm always a big believer in just like continuing the cycle. And that's kind of the beauty of helping people. It doesn't have to be younger people, but you can say younger people or anyone, and inspiring them, because then they're going to go on and they're going to inspire, more people. So I think that's great. It's like it's a never-ending chain, and I hope Lang will keep will go inspire people, and I hope those people he inspires will inspire people, and I hope that people will keep getting inspired, because it's a beautiful thing, and we need to share positivity, and we need to spread that kindness across the world, and just keep kind of doing our best. We're all flawed, but we all have things that people can look up to for. I truly believe that. No one's perfect, but you can always look up to someone for some reason. I mean, not anyone, right? Like, there's like probably serial killers and stuff, but in general, most people, pretty much anyone in our community, I'm certain, has traits that you can look up to and be inspired by. So I think that's really awesome. So I hope I answered your question well, but I appreciate the kind words, and that's always my goal in life, is to inspire and to help people and to spread positive messages. So Yeah, thank you for saying so. I really appreciate it. All right, question number 3. Question number 3 is, hey, Raichu, can you help me think of a question for this podcast? Thanks, man. Well, what's a good question? Let me think of a good question that you could ask me. Let me think of a good question so you could ask me. How about you ask me what are well, how about this? Let's ask this. Okay? How do you, Raichu, when you have a bad week, month, year, how do you bounce back from something like that? How do I bounce back when I'm having a bad time and, whatever time period it may be? I had a bad week, I had a bad month, I had a bad year, it's been a bad few years, whatever it may be. How do you bounce back from that? So let me tell you about how you bounce back from something like that. So the thing is, how do you bounce back? So, like, number 1, get something positive about it. Back in the day, when I was in college, I had a really, really, really bad. The whole year wasn't bad, but I had a bad few months because it was like the fall semester, like from August to December. I was in a really bad living situation. I had a roommate in college, and he was just a horrible, horrible, horrible person. Like, imagine the worst person you know, and it was horrible. So, like, I consider that year to be like one of the worst years, maybe my worst year of my life. It was a really freaking bad year. So you have that bad thing, and it's very easy to say like, well, this year was just bad, and so badness is just what I've got now. But you need to take the positives out of something like that. So for me, that was the year I met Toshabi. So I had bad stuff, but you also have to be able to look at the positives. Financially, I was doing well. I was in my poker prime then, and I was crushing it. I made so much money. I met Toshabi. I met some other good friends, and so there was positive. There was a lot of bad stuff. My overall feeling that year was bad, but I did have positive takeaways, and I think that's the key in any bad situation. Take something good out of it. For example, I think I'll name drop here. I think this is okay. I hope it's okay, Game Orca. Game Orca was talking to me about how he had a very stressful job, and I won't say what the job is because I don't know if that's the best for me to say. But he had a really shit. I mean, for lack of a better term, he had a shitty, stressful job, and it was really hard. But he got something positive out of it, and we were talking about this. He got something positive out of it. He is an introvert. It made him go outside of his comfort zone, talk to more people, and so it brought him out of his shell a little bit, to the sense that he's a great converser. You can talk to him about anything. You can easily have a conversation with him. So it forced him to get out of his shell. So yes, it was a bad experience. It stressed him out. Was really, really horrible, but he got something positive out of it. Same for me. I had a really bad job once. It was horrible. And the positives I got out of it were for me, it was the appreciation of when I didn't have a horrible job. It wasn't all that amazing, but it was just in comparison, I could see okay, yes, maybe I think oh, my life sucks. This is horrible. But I can see what a really bad job is, right? What something really bad is. So it's you take the positives out of negative experiences. And I think any negative experience you have, you should try to get something positive out of it. And I know that's not always easy. And I know that's a little cliche to say, oh, look at positives. And I'm not saying that you need to be fake and say a shitty experience, oh, it wasn't bad because I got something good. It still was bad. It was still bad. But you can still get something positive out of it. And I think that's really, really important. Taking the positives from a negative situation. I'll talk about this more when we get into the end of the year, because the year is not done. We've still got a couple more months, baby. But for me, it's been a really bad year for me. But, and I won't. We'll do this. This is kind of earlier than I meant to talk about this, but we'll talk about this in our end of the year episodes, right? But but I can still take positive out of it. There has been good things come out of this year, and I'm excited to talk about those good things. in addition to the bad. And no matter, I guess I don't want to like call it now, but I'm going to say probably no matter what happens the next 2 months, it will still be considered a bad year. Like overall, we're pretty far down in the bads to get out of the bads. Like, I'm not sure it's possible. Maybe it is. Maybe someone will come around and make me wrong and make me say, I was wrong. But most likely, it'll still be a bad year no matter what happens. But we've got a lot of good positives that still came out of this year, and maybe even more to come in the next couple months. So we'll talk about those more for the end of the year stream podcasts. But I think that's it. Would have been a great question, Mister Mystery person question. So yeah, I hope that was a good question that you can't ask because I just answered the question. Dang, maybe I should have just said the question and then let you ask that. But oh well, I gave you the question and I gave you the answer. So I hope you liked the answer and the question. Gamer, thank you, me. Appreciate the question. Even though it was a meme question, we got something good out of it. So yeah. Thanks for the meme question, memer. Probably kill more. That's funny. I'm so funny. All right. Anyway, question 4. All right. So I read this question, and it's. I will admit my first take on this question was that it seemed a bit combative because I don't know. I don't know. This seems like a combative question. So I will say, I assume this question comes from frustration. When this person asked this question, they were probably not feeling great. That's the vibe I get from this question. And sometimes when people aren't feeling good, they can say things in a way that comes off as a little harsh. A little harsh. This seems harsh to me, and I will admit, when I read this, it actually fucked me up, and I was actually like very upset. But I read it, and I calmly understood it, and I understand what you're saying, and I'm going to answer your question. So the question is, I'll read the entire thing, and then we'll break it down. How do you stay truthfully genuine between your many friends? I ask this because I've noticed you give a lot of the same general responses to any of your friends when they're feeling down or struggling, so it can be hard to tell if you actually genuinely mean what you say from time to time. Okay, so what I first got out of the question was, damn, they're saying I'm insincere, and when I say things that they're not genuine. Wow, that's fucked. That was my initial reaction, but let that be an example as well, guys, is sometimes when someone says something, you have to take a minute because sometimes, especially in text, things don't always translate well. So when I read this, I admit it. I'm human. I can admit I was upset. I got defensive. I said, what? They're saying I'm insincere? Are you effing kidding me? But no, their question is a genuinely good question. And let's answer it, okay? So number one, I'm going to address the part in the middle. I asked this because I've noticed you give a lot of the same general responses to any of your friends when you're feeling down or struggling. So number one, you haven't seen my responses to people unless you're secretly hacking into my DMs. Are you secretly hacking into my DMs? Are you reading my DMs? Who is reading my DMs? Those are my private DMs. But no, you see when someone posts it, I assume your sample size is people posting in my vent channel or people tweeting about it on Twitter. Very valid, understandable. So the number one thing to understand is this, okay? And maybe some people, and I'm not trying to defend myself and use this as a crutch, because I know sometimes people use, oh, I'm so busy, as a crutch. I'm not using it as a crutch in this sense, but I do want to say, right, when someone gives you their time, no one in a vent channel or a tweet, there's no obligation to respond. I could see that tweet or that vent channel post, and I could say nothing. It would be extremely, and I'm sure everyone can understand this fact, it would be extremely easy for me to say nothing. No one expects me to say anything. Why would you expect me to say something? You're just posting about it on Twitter. You're clearly not looking for anyone in particular to respond. So me going out of my way to respond already shows care, and that goes about for anyone. That goes about it for anyone. I posted a sad post on my AD probably in September, I think, and people went out of their way to respond to it. No one had to. I wasn't looking for any particular response, but people spent their valuable time and spent a few words, whatever it may be, to say, hey, I hope you feel better. Okay? So I just want to emphasize that, is that with no obligation to respond whatsoever, any kind of response shows that that person cared about you and went out of their way to check in on you or to just give a few words. And I'll admit it. I'll use a great example, and I hope it's okay to use this example. Chili Mex posts sad tweets on Twitter from time to time on main, so I can say it because it's very publicly there. And I respond sometimes, probably not to all of them, but sometimes I do. And I probably say the same cliche crap most of the time. But you shouldn't devalue that, because every time I do that, I mean, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back and say, wow, I'm such a nice guy for sending a 10-word tweet, because it's really not much. But I still spent my time to send him some love when he was struggling. And I want you to think of it like that, in the sense that, like, if you're, and again, you're only seeing, you don't know the actual deep conversations I have in DMs when a close friend is struggling or something. I hope that people here that have experienced that would say, wow, he's really, because I think I actually thrive when people are, in having those kind of conversations. So I hopefully it may be a few people that I've had those conversations with are listening to the podcast and are nodding along and saying, yeah, he is good at that. But just keep in mind, you're not seeing the full story. You're just seeing, and I'm sorry, in Chili Mex's tweets, we'll just use it as an example. In Chili Mex's tweets, I can't really type an essay. I'm not going to go type a public essay about, like, trying to help him. I'm going to send a few words because that's what I can do in that time. But I can't say that Chili Mex and I haven't had some deep talks where I hope I helped him and he's helped me before. So, like, don't take what you're seeing publicly as the facts, because that's kind of what it sounds like. Well, I saw you posting similar responses. Well, yeah, because on Twitter or in a public Discord, I'm not going to post like a 52 paragraph thing about, like, my deepest intricate feelings for someone and, like, how I care about them and how I think that the blah blah, whatever, blah blah blah. So just take what you see in and if someone, and I for your own and I realize I made this about me a little too much, and I apologize for that, but that was I did take it a little personally. I'll admit it, and it's okay. You don't have to. I'm sure the person's response is going to be like, oh, I didn't mean to make you feel bad. It's okay. You don't have to. Don't feel bad about making me feel bad, because you asked a very genuine question and I'm giving a genuine answer, and I'm being open and upfront with my own feelings about the question, So just don't assume unless someone gives you a reason. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. It's hard to say. I think the important thing to remember is that no one is obligated to respond to you in a public place, right? Now, it's different in DMs, right? If someone DMs me and says, hey, vaRAIety, I'm feeling bad, and they're my friend, okay, now I am obligated to respond. I have some level of obligation to respond. So it's a little different. But on a public tweet, if someone responds to you, they are going out of their way to respond. And even if it seems like, oh, that response could have been better, or that response seems a little canned, or, it seems a little similar to other responses I've seen, they're still going out of their way. So that shows, to me anyway, that shows sincerity. It doesn't matter if they do that to a lot of people. They're still spending time on you. And it's the same idea as, oh, well, this person hangs out with a lot of people, so it doesn't mean as much when they hang out with me. They're still spending time with you. They're still going out of their way to spend time with you, and they're still going out of their way to make a tweet, or a post on the public Discord saying, hey, I'm sorry you're feeling that way. I hope you feel better. So I think just remember that people's time is valuable. And I think, and I don't say this in a mean way, but some people have different levels of value of time. Some people are more busy. Some people are less busy. So maybe sometimes people who are less busy might not fully understand the, and again, I'm sorry, I'm gonna play the woe is me game. I have a full-time job. I stream. I upload videos every single day. I do a podcast. I have family obligations. I have friend obligations. I own a big home. I have a lot of cleaning to do around the home. I have a dog to take care of. I have 2 side hustles in addition to my streaming, which you could also consider a side hustle somewhat, and a million other things, and then just general life. So I'm a pretty busy guy. So if I take time, for me anyway, and I guess this maybe won't apply to, but it really does apply to everyone, because if anyone takes time out of their day, that's your most valuable resource is time. So if anyone takes time to say some words to you, some nice words when they see you're struggling, for example, no matter if it's 5 words, 10 words, or a freaking essay, they took time because they care. So don't assume the worst. And I know it's easy. A lot of people assume the worst. Don't assume the worst. Assume they're being genuine until they show you that they're not genuine. Okay? I think that's what you can take out of this. Assume they're genuine. Sometimes you just have to dive in head first. And if you're, if they're not genuine, if it turns out they weren't genuine, well, that's unfortunately sometimes people let you down. But assume the best in people. Don't assume the worst. I know the world's a shitty place. It's easy to assume the worst in people, but try not to. Try not to. Trust me, a little optimism goes a long way. So don't, basically, what you see, there's 2 things to take from it. Number 1, anytime someone gives you is valuable. And number 2 is don't assume based on just what you're seeing in public. It's the same thing as a lot of people assume I'm a certain way based on watching my stream, and they've never talked to me in a one-on-one conversation. Don't assume. What you see on the internet in public, I play a character on Twitter, first off, by the way. I play a character on Twitter. In some form at least. I have a pretty large, I'm not going to say I'm a social media influencer, but I have a pretty large following who've been following me for many years because they like the character I play on Twitter, which is, to some extent, it's an exaggerated version of me, but it's also somewhat a character. Same on stream. I don't actually scream 24/7, guys. I'm not actually that enthusiastic 24/7. It's a character for a show. And my Twitter is a character as well. An exaggerated version of me, and it doesn't mean I can't be sincere, but it's still a character. And until you've had those deep talk conversations with me one-on-one, you can't really assume that what you're seeing on a public Twitter is the same. And that goes for anyone. Don't assume that someone is the same way they are in public versus how they are in private. It's not a bad thing. People are different in public and private. Twitter is public. Discord is public. In our DMs is private. So I do act differently in private, and I'm more likely to. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not gonna spill my heart out on Twitter very often or in Discord very often. But in a one-on-one conversation, sure I would. So the responses you see on Twitter and stuff, sure, maybe they do seem canned sometimes, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I did give my time to someone, and they're just public responses. It's just just because you see me, for example, give Chili Mex a cliche on response on Twitter does not mean that I didn't go into his DMs right after and have a heart-to-heart, full heartfelt conversation. As an example, I'm just using him as an example. Sorry, I always have to use someone as an example. Chili Mex, congratulations. It is your birthday today. It's your birthday party in 3 hours, so we'll use you as an example. By the time you see this, your birthday's long done. By the time you see this, happy birthday Lang, by the way. But anyway, so yeah. How do you stay truthfully genuine between your many friends? So we'll go to that question. I mean, how do you stay truthfully genuine between your many friends? There's not a real complicated answer. It's be genuine. Don't say things you don't mean. I don't say things I don't mean. You guys have heard me talk about people, and sometimes I think people have a tendency to think, and it's kind of sad, right? It's kind of sad that we're in a world where like someone like me who says a lot of nice things about a lot of people is kind of looked at sometimes as insincere. And I'm not a question asker. I'm not saying that you're saying that. But I have had people kind of imply that to me before. And it's kind of sad, isn't it? That someone just genuinely being nice is considered like, oh, they probably have ulterior motives or they're insincere. I can't really just love a lot of things about a lot of people. And I'm sorry if some people have similar traits, so it might seem like I'm saying the same thing. But like, I genuinely, anything I say, if I say something, I mean it. I don't butter people up for fun. I just also don't believe in keeping all your emotions bottled up and all the things you like about people bottled up, because life is freaking hard and people need to hear that stuff sometimes. And so that's why I say it. And it's sincere. There's no value in me telling you shit about yourself that isn't true. You don't get anything about that. You don't gain anything from finding out things about yourself that are just true. Then you're just living a lie. But you can gain a lot from me telling you something about yourself and you go, huh, I never really thought about that, because self-confidence is a very important trait in life. It's a very important trait in finding friends and finding a partner and doing well in your career. many different things. The reason I have my career is because I had self-confidence. I went into an interview for a job I was not qualified for, absolutely. And I could have been a little bottom boy in that interview and been like, ooh, woo, I don't think I'm qualified, but ooh, woo. But no, I went in there and I said, yo, fucking hire me. And here's why I'm awesome. And they believed it. I mean, they say they believed it like I was lying, but no, I didn't say anything insincere about myself. I told them genuine things that I like about myself and things that I think make me a good employee. And that's good. And you know what? Not everyone can introspectively find those. I'm pretty decent at introspectively, like, being analytical and saying, like, yeah, I think I am pretty good at this. A lot of people are very hard on themselves, like we talk about all the time. So they're not going to be as good about that. So sometimes they need a little push. If I need to say, yo, you think your stream is freaking not good, but you are like the most charming, charismatic, amazing streamer, like, and your stream always has me like hooked and others as well. Like if there's things like that that you never thought about that you need to hear, like, yo, you need to hear it. It's true. Like, it's important that you're aware of that fact that you have people coming back because of your charisma and because of your charm. Like, it's important. It's important that you know. And so it's a way to help others around you. So how do you stay genuine? Be genuine. Don't bullshit people. Don't bullshit people. Don't go tell someone who I don't know, like I don't know, what's a good example here? Let me think. Don't lie to people. I mean, genuinely, if you think something positive about someone, say it. But don't like make up things to say about them. Just be truthful. I'm sure you can think of any of your friends or anyone in your life. I could go just on my Twitter mutuals, and most of them aren't my friends, right? I have a lot of Twitter mutuals. Most of them aren't my friends, but like I could even go, as far as like some people there are my friends, but a lot of just people that are acquaintances. I can go to acquaintances and say, I can promise you, I can say something nice or something that I look up to or something that I admire about almost anyone. So that's it. It's very easy. I think it's easy. You guys don't. I mean, I don't know about if other people see it the same way I do. You guys don't think about the positive traits about your friends? I think you do. So if you're already thinking those things, all I do is say them. So be genuine. That's it. Just don't lie. I mean, it sounds stupid that it's so simple. Just don't lie. Just be truthful. What you like about your friends and what you admire about them. Don't lie. Just be honest. If someone's being hard on themselves and they're saying, like, let's use an example. I think I'm worthless. I'm not a good friend. And I'm just a horrible person to be around. Then I comfort them by saying, I think you're an amazing friend. And anytime you're around me, I really love your company. And you always make my days brighter when I'm around you. If I'm being honest about that, which I would be if I was saying that to someone, what more is there? That's genuine. Because that's how I honestly feel. If I don't feel that way, I mean, if I can't help them, if I can't help you, I'm probably not going to respond. If your tweet says, like, I don't have a good job, for example, and I mean, and if I can't comment on your job because I don't know it very well, or I don't know, like enough about it to comment one way or the other, like, maybe I won't say anything. But if I have something to say, I'm going to say it. So if I'm saying something, it means I have something to say. And so that's kind of it. Just be truthful. Just be truthful. How do you stay truthfully genuine? It's very simple. Be honest with your friends. You can say what you like about them. You can compliment them. You can comfort them when they're down by saying something positive about them, for example. Just be honest. It seems like the easiest thing in the world to me, and I'm not sure if it's hard for others. I'm sorry if it is, and I'm making it seem very, very simple. But just be honest. Just don't lie. That's all there is to it. I would never bullshit someone with things that weren't true. There's no value in that. So just be honest. I hope that helps answer your question. I didn't mean to, and I apologize if you're going to feel bad that you made me feel bad, because the question did come off a little more abrasive than most questions in my podcast do. So I know you probably didn't intend that to be. You were probably feeling a little bad, maybe even when you wrote this question. But I hope that my answer helped, and I hope that my answer will help you to kind of see it from a different perspective. And I hope that you liked it. Now I'm self-conscious, but I hope you liked the answer. Feel free to ask a follow-up if you so desire in a future episode. I'm happy to talk about it more. But yeah, thank you so much for the question, mystery person. Alrighty, question number 5. From Ethan. Ethan always asks some good questions. So, Ethan, what have you got for me today? I've been in a mood for baking a batch of chocolate chip cookies recently, and that made me curious. What's your favorite flavor of cookies, and how do you usually like it? Crispy, chewy, etc. That's a great question. I love cookies. I would say, honestly, for me, chocolate chip is probably my favorite. It's hard to beat a good chocolate chip cookie. I also sometimes like, but they're a little more hit or miss. Sometimes people use them as an excuse, I think, to like mask the flavors, and sometimes they just taste very bland. But I like double chocolate cookies as well, like, you know, when it's like a chocolate cookie with chocolate chips as opposed to like a regular cookie with chocolate chips. I don't know what you call the regular one, but like a base cookie with chocolate chips versus like a chocolate cookie with chocolate chips. I like those, but they're a little more hit or miss, but a good one. You know who used to have really good double chocolate cookies was Costco. They used to make really freaking good ones. I don't know if they still do because I don't buy them because, yeah, I don't buy cookies very much. I love cookies. Like if I go to your house and you've got some cookies, oh hell yeah, give me a cookie. But I don't buy cookies, and I'm conscious of my health, and I try not to eat too many cookies because I'll get chunky, and I want to be not chunky. That's just my own personal preference. But yeah. So how do I like them? I would say probably the ideal cookie is like a little crispy and a little chewy, like crispy edges and like a little like more chewy on the inside. I don't like them too crispy and I don't like them too chewy, so I would say somewhere in the middle with kind of a mix of those two would be the way I like it. And usually just a chocolate chip cookie. I don't like oatmeal raisin cookies very much because I'm not a huge fan of raisins. Peanut butter cookies are also good. I like peanut butter, especially if you put chocolate with a peanut butter cookie. That's really good. Red velvet cookies, those can be good too. What other kind of cookies are there? There's not, I don't know, Oreos. I like Oreos. But yeah, no, like, it's hard to say anything except a chocolate chip cookie. I mean, that would be my ideal cookie if I was going to buy a cookie, like a good chocolate chip cookie. I do buy them from time to time, like especially if I'm at a bakery or something and I can just buy one. Because the challenge is, like a lot of the time, like if you go to like a store like Costco or something, I'd have to buy like 18 cookies. And listen, there's no world in which Raichu needs to eat 18 cookies, okay? I don't need it. But if I can buy one cookie, I love a good one cookier. So yeah, I like cookies a lot. And chocolate chip is definitely my favorite, with a mix of crispy and chewy. So a little crispy on the outside, a little gooey on the inside. Yummy. I also like brownies. I know you're not asking about brownies, but I think I like brownies more than cookies usually. A good brownie, delicious. But cookies are great. Brownies and cookies. Usually, like my mom would I like cake. You know, I like cake. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But like my mom would make me brownies because I'm a big brownie fan, and brownies kind of hit diff. So she would make me like birthday brownies. I like brownies. They're very good. In fact, Tushabi's mom did the same thing because they know I like brownies. I'm a big brownie guy. I don't know. I'm a big brownie guy. They're just also easier to eat. You know, like cake, you got to get a fork and stuff. A brownie, you just grab it with your little paw and you go, delicious. But yeah, so cookies, delicious. Chocolate chip, all the way. Ainton, send me some pictures of your when you make those cookies. I can't wait to see. All right, thank you for the question. Question number 6, also from Ainton. All right, Ainton says, I recently read an article saying that games in recent times have been lacking in creativity due to a bigger focus on monetization over fun gameplay mechanics. Even with or without reading said article, what is your opinion about this statement? I mean, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of things in this day and age are commercialized. And I mean, let's not get it wrong. Like, I don't think like when they made Chrono Trigger, they weren't like, how can we make the most money? But I think a lot of things are analytical, and I'll use another example because it's a good example that people that aren't gamblers might not know. So I'm going to explain this to you. Yeah, hopefully it makes sense. So back in the day when you were gamblers, so I think this is known information, but let's just make it known. So if you guys weren't aware, when you gamble, the casino or casinos, whatever it may be, they keep track of your play, and you get rewards or perks, benefits, free food, sometimes free hotel stays, free currency to play within the casino, like all kinds of free stuff. They're giving you prizes or rewards because they value your business, okay? So back in the day, and Vegas has been hit the hardest by this, but like back in the day, in Vegas. Comps are what it's called. It basically means comped things, like complimentary. So they're called comps. So I'm going to use the word comps from here on out. So back in the day, comps were determined with there was less of a computer crunching numbers, and it was more of feel. So back in the day, you could go up to your host. And in a casino, you have someone called a host. And the host is someone that kind of keeps track of your gameplay and your spending in the casino, basically. And they have the discretion, or they did have the discretion, to give you free stuff based on that. So back on the day, you could just go up to your host and, like, if you had Riz and your host kind of liked you, you could get more free stuff because, like, hey, I gambled a lot and you like me. So, maybe you give me a little something extra special, like, I want a free steak dinner or something. Like, maybe I didn't technically gamble enough to get a steak dinner, but I gambled a pretty good amount. You like me, you know me. Like, I always bring a good vibe when I come to the casino. Like, I riz you up a little bit. And so I get that steak dinner. They had that discretion to kind of be a little more open. Nowadays, the casino, everything, there's an algorithm, and it calculates your play, and it's like calculating, and here's what they will get based on how much they played, and there's no rizzing the computer. The computer is just saying, yo, here's what we need to do. Here's the profit we need, and so this is what we can give them, period, end of story. So I think it goes to the same thing in that, like, there was a little more charm and a little more riz put into games back in the day versus now it's a computer saying, we need 42% ROI on this project in order to keep the studio running at optimal capacity. And that's kind of what it is they have a specific number that the investors want to see, and they need to make that amount of money, or else there's nowhere else. You have to make that amount of money. And so they need to use these forms of monetization in order to achieve the optimal result. So I think just with the growing use of computers and computing and everything over the past 25 whatever years, a lot of things have moved in that direction. And it's just kind of, we have that technology, so people are like, the Riz is gone. There's no Riz. It's just computers. So unfortunate, but it's not just a video game industry. I'd say probably it's similar in the movie industry. They need a certain amount of ROI, so they need to do these things in order to ensure that the ROI is high enough for the investors. I mean, same thing at the company I work at. Hey, we need to do these things to have a good enough profit for the investors to be happy. So here's what we need to do. It's all around, and it's just it's a true statement. Unfortunately, I don't like it. I like a world where I can use a little bit more of my personality to maybe shine. For example, the casino example I used. But unfortunately, we're just moving more and more toward computers. And it's very unfortunate because someday I'm sure there's not even going to be like interviews. It's just going to be like a computer like analyzes your resume and gives you the job based on that without even having to talk to someone, which is unfortunate because, like I said, I got my current job that I've been at for many years now because I was charming. And I'm more than positive, because my resume was not good, I'm more than positive I got this job because I was charming. And if my charm does nothing, then shit, I put all my stats into the wrong frickin' thing because I don't know anything about programming or computers or anything like that. Dang it! I put all my stat points into the wrong skill. It's going to be obsolete. But no, I mean, Ethan, I think that statement's absolutely true. I agree with it. And it's unfortunate, but it's, it is where we're headed. So, we either adapt or we die. And I guess I'm going to have to try to adapt. Is what it is, It is what it is. So let's keep on moving forward. Thanks for the interesting question, Ethan. I appreciate it. All right. Now we've got a big one from Kel Moray. I think this is going to be the last one I'm going to do for this segment because I might be talking about this for a little bit. So here we go. From Kel Moray. Okay, seriously though. Unsure if this is too personal or not, but I know you'll use your best discretion. And by the way, this is not too personal at all. This isn't even on the borderline. You guys know that song? Who's that song? Is that by Madonna? Borderline. Feels like I'm going to lose my mind. That's Madonna, right? Anyway, let me have a sip of water. I realize I'm very parched again. Hold on. Pause. Is that what the kids say? Pause. Hold on. Water is such a great invention. And I need to drink a lot of it today because I'm going to be partaking on the Chili Max birthday extravaganza in 3 hours. Wow. But anyway. It's good to be yourself. We've established that. I'm glad that we've established that. That's great. But are there ever times where one should dilute themselves some? I would say it's on the quest of finding self-awareness in social situations. But how do you navigate what's being self-aware or what's just censoring yourself for the sake of people who might not like you for you? Okay, so we're going to read the rest of the question, and then we're going to get back to that. Coming from me, this might be the thing I struggle the most with. I always want to be myself unapologetically, but sometimes I think I tunnel vision, and I'm not really reading the room, so to say. It's kind of where my, ooh, I've been around for too long alarm comes from. I guess maybe to add on a little extra thing to the question, how does one deal with that alarm? No, I'm not skipping. That's the bottom in Kel is like, feel free to skip if this is too incoherent. No, this is perfectly coherent. I'm not skipping your question. You can't make me, so don't make me. You're not making me. Don't do it. Don't you dare try to make me. Okay. So, are there ever times where one should dilute themselves some? And the answer to that, I would say, is yes. And we will elaborate on that as we answer the part 2 of this question. I would say that's on the quest of finding self-awareness in social situations. But how do you navigate what's being self-aware and what's just censoring yourself for the sake of people who might not like you for you? I think it is a gradual workup. And that's kind of, again, where reading the room comes into play. And for me, it's always been very easy because for me, I'm a social chameleon. And I think, who was it that used that term? Someone used that term with me. And I've never phrased it that way. Usually I say I'm very dynamic, which I think I am as well, which I don't know if that... I actually think social chameleon might be the better way to put it. So for me, let me talk about being a social chameleon and why I think that can be sincere in showing different parts of yourself. You don't have to show your whole self. And that's not necessarily that you're not censoring yourself. You're just showing the sides of yourself that apply. Right? Like, here's the thing, right? Like, let's use a job example because I'm good at really logical examples. So I'm applying for, let's just say, I'm applying for a computer science. Like, let's just say this. I'm going to be a fictional person here, okay? In high school, I worked at a grocery store. I had some skills, whatever, like I was, whatever it may be, okay? I worked at a grocery store. I worked at a fast food place. I worked like some basic jobs, right? And then I go get my computer science degree, and now I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be getting a job coding, okay? I'm gonna go do a coder's job, okay? So they're asking me, well, what makes you a good fit for this job? Am I being disingenuous by not talking too much about my fast food and my like my grocery store, my fast food job? I don't think I'm being disingenuous or I'm censoring myself. I think I'm just talking about the areas that are most applicable to this situation. Or, the same thing applies to friends. Like, let me tell you, many of you guys don't know, I'm a huge baseball fan. Okay? And I don't think any of them would be listening to the podcast, but I have a few friends in the furry fandom who are huge baseball fans as well. And we talk about it together. We have a great time. But I don't talk about it with most people because most people in the furry fandom, I would say the majority, there are some, most people in the furry fandom don't really care about sports too much, okay? So I'm not being disingenuous not talking about that part of myself. I'm just being genuine in the areas that we can connect on. So is censoring yourself in some ways or diluting yourself a bad thing? Not necessarily. And I think you're talking more about, I'm assuming you're talking a little bit more about letting your true personality, like that you're kind of, I don't know, is loud the right word? Kelsey Morey's not really loud, but he's a very talkative guy. He talks a lot, at least around me. So I guess maybe we could use some clarity on what in specific, like there are going to be topics that you probably won't, you can have someone who's really close in your life, but you don't talk about certain things with. For me, I've always been a good social chameleon in the sense that I can bro down with the biggest bros, right? I could go to a frat party right now and bro down, talk about sports and drinking and like all this stuff and like bro down. Or I could go and talk to the nerdiest nerd who only knows, about video games and nothing else, and we could talk about video games and I would do just fine there as well. So it's kind of reading the room, okay? And I'll give another example. When I went to hang out in VR with King and some of his friends that I hadn't met before. So I was in a social situation where reading the room was entirely necessary. I could have gone in there full assed Raichu and been like, yo! But I went in as I would say a toned down version of myself. But still able to talk. The traits that make me were still present, but it wasn't as an exaggerated version of me as I might be with people that I talk to all the time, or I'm a little more comfortable. I guess comfortable would be the right word, or a little more confident being myself around, that they like me. You know what I mean? So in a situation like that, again, read the room. See what the vibe is. If the vibe calls for something more chill, be a little more chilled down version of yourself. If the room calls for a little more hyped version of yourself, be a little more hyped. I think that's the key. Now, saying that, maybe you're someone who's pretty darn quiet in general, and you're not very comfortable being more of a hyped version of yourself. In that case, you can't really fully be someone you're not. So maybe you'll be a little more quiet and see how the vibe is. For me, I think when more quiet people hang around me, I hope that the vibe I give off is like, I love, and this is kind of a weird, I don't know, is this a weird thing to say? I love shy people. I absolutely adore shy people. And I love to be able to help them open up a little bit. And I'm not expecting them to be me. When I hang out with shyer friends, I don't expect them to be the Raichu. But I really appreciate the fact that introverted, shy people, when they say something, for example, it has a little more meaning. Like they're stepping outside their comfort zone to say something at all. And I love that. And so I appreciate that. So I think it's kind of reading the room. If you're someone, Kel, if you're being yourself in the room, and you'll be able to get the vibe. If they like it, awesome. If they don't like it, I mean, I think at the core, like, if they don't like you for your base self, I mean, that's probably a problem. It doesn't mean you can't tone it down or up a little bit, but it shouldn't be, twisting the volume knob too far. You should have a little flexibility that you can maybe be a little more adaptable, but you shouldn't have to completely change yourself for anyone. So if the vibe isn't there when you're being yourself, if the vibe's a little off, maybe you could try twisting the nozzle one way or the other and be a little more. But if the vibe's not there, the vibe's not there. And, and it is what it is. Like, again, if it's a quiet room where everyone's like talking very gently and you've never talked to them before, and you walk in like, yo, I'm the Raichu motherfuckers, party in this bitch. Like, that would be a very poor thing. That would be in my opinion, that would be a poor social decision to do. But on the other hand, I would probably be the most talkative person in that room if I'm joining a room with a bunch of shy people. So if they don't like the fact that I'm a talkative person, the vibe's never going to be there, because that's me, right? It doesn't mean... So, for example, let's use that as an example. I'm a talkative person in general, but so I would probably be talking... and in that past example I used, I was still a talkative person in that level, in that social situation, but I wasn't quite as loud of a talkative person as I can be. For example, let's go back to a few weeks ago when we had the game night in the server and I was a loud-ass bitch. Okay, that's another social situation where it was a group of people I was a little more comfortable with, knowing that I can be a loud-ass bitch and hopefully they're still going to have a good time. But in a social situation where you're not sure, try to match the energy, but do it in a way that is yourself, that is not taking away from yourself, that you're sincere. You're not censoring yourself. You're still being yourself. And I guess it comes with anything. Like, you should be comfortable talking about things that you're comfortable with, but don't, like, if we're talking about like, I don't know, something completely different, and then you're going like, I want to be eaten, I love vor, like, little awkward, right? But like, doesn't mean you should hide that fact. Like, if you're talking about like let's say that you're having this conversation and it strays in a not safe for work way, and someone's talking about like, I don't know, something else, and you're like, oh, I love that, but like, I'm more into like the maw aspect, and like, you can talk about like what you like and like be yourself. If that's like one of your identities is like, I really like vor, which again, there's nothing wrong. Like, I am fully in the belief that like, be yourself. If that's like a core part of you that you want to share with the people you're close with, as an example, then you should do it. But it's all about And it's not censoring to wait for the right situation to kind of show your hand in a way. So read the room, be yourself, but you don't have to open yourself up. Like, I could be with a group of people, and I'm not going to talk about baseball because I know that most furries don't like sports. And I don't think that is me censoring myself. But when that opportunity presents itself, like if the door cracks a little bit and someone mentions something about a sporting event or something, I'm like, yo, well, let me tell you about something I like. I think I'm very natural at bringing up things that I like or that I care about, or like exposing like things that make me me in real time when I'm getting to know people. So it's just kind of a skill you develop, and just kind of read the room. And you're not don't feel like you're censoring yourself just because you're not showing your whole hand at the beginning. It's just natural to be a little guarded and a little more diluted version of yourself. That's a great way to put it, by the way. A diluted version of yourself is okay. And, you might show more and more of yourself as time goes on. And it might end up being that friend or that group of friends doesn't like that. And you're not as close. But at the end of the day, I'm always a believer in that you have to be yourself. But you don't have to be yourself right away. You don't have to fully be yourself right away. You can dilute yourself. But like Cal, in our freaking server, like, I'm sorry you don't see it, but everyone freaking adores you. You can be 110% yourself in our community. And I'm not going to say you can be that in everywhere. I'm 110% myself when I hang out with you guys. But as the example I just gave, when I was meeting King's friend group for the first time, I wasn't 110% myself. I was a slightly diluted version of myself, and that's okay. And I think they liked it. And I think the next time I were to hang out with them, if that time were to come, I would be a little bit even less diluted, and a little bit less, and a little bit less, and a little bit less. Because at the end of the day, you have to be yourself, but you don't have to fully expose your full hand the very first time, for example, or even the first few times you're meeting yourself. So I would say let yourself undilute yourself over time. It's kind of like anything, okay? Like if you're drinking coffee for the first time, you're probably going to dilute it with creamer, right? A lot of creamer, because coffee by itself, if you've never drank coffee, probably tastes disgusting to you. So you dilute it with some creamer, and then you dilute it a little less over time. Same with your drinking alcohol. Your first time drinking alcohol, you're probably not doing a straight glass of vodka. You're going to have a little vodka with some fruit juices and a little fruity homosexual drink, as I call them. But then as time goes on, you build up, you dilute a little less, you dilute a little less, you dilute a little less. And it's okay. That's just natural for anything. Dilution becomes less with time. So there's nothing wrong with diluting yourself. But I think with diluting yourself, you also have to appreciate the fact that there's some people you don't have to dilute yourself with. I'm pretty sure, Kel, you don't dilute yourself with your friends in your server, like when you hang out with, what's their name, Axel, Colorado Blues, and all those people. I bet you don't dilute yourself much. And I'm that's my hunch. I don't know if that's true, but I think it is. And I know you probably dilute yourself a little bit in our community still, but I wish you wouldn't. And you're going to be hanging out with us today, and you might still dilute yourself. But after this time, you're not going to see the podcast until tomorrow or beyond that. So, I hope the next time you hang out with us after that, you'll remember the fact that you don't need to dilute yourself around us. That's a very important trait as well. You don't dilute yourself if you're not able to see when you don't need to dilute yourself, when you can truly be yourself with someone or a group of people. And Kel, I'm very confident. Again, let's go back to insincerity. Oh, Raichu, he's saying this. He says this to other people too. So I bet it's insincere because it's a similar response. It is a similar response. I'm going to give you a similar response I'd give you to many people in our community. The community adores you, and you can absolutely be yourself, and you should be yourself without dilution. You don't need to dilute yourself around us. And there are people you probably do need to dilute yourself around, just like there's people I need to dilute myself around. But as time goes on, you can dilute yourself less and less, and you just kind of ease them into who you are. You give them a taste, and trust me, if they don't like the diluted version of you, they're definitely not going to like the undiluted version of you. I'm saying the word dilute a lot, but ease them in. Ease them in. Someone might not think they like coffee, but you put some creamer in there, you dilute it a little bit, and then they start to really like coffee. They might think the introverts might be a little intimidated by someone like me who talks a whole frickin' lot. So I kind of dilute it just a little bit. And then they get a little more comfortable and they see, wow, this guy he's just a guy, you know? And so dilution is important, but you should never have to dilute yourself forever with anyone. So if you're finding yourself having to dilute yourself for too long, that might be a sign that it's not working out. But dilution on the first meetup of someone, or even the first few meetups, the time, it's not a cut and dry time frame of how long you should have to dilute yourself, but just kind of keep it in mind. Damn, I've been friends with these people for like a year and I still feel like I have to dilute myself. Huh? Why is that? Why is that? Think about that. Cal, you've been in the community for 4 years and you still get that alarm that we don't like you, or that you need to dilute yourself with us? Well, what leads you to thinking that? I guess that's a deeper conversation you have to have with yourself. But yeah, like there's definitely a time. And 4 years is, if you're diluting yourself after 4 years, there's something going on there, and that is not natural. So think about it. But yeah. Section 2, coming from me, this might be the thing I struggle the most with. Yeah, I understand that. I ultimately want to be myself unapologetically, but sometimes I think I tunnel vision. I'm not really reading the room. Yeah, I think it's important to read the room, and I don't always read the room either. Sometimes I'm probably a bit bad at that. I think I might be a little too undiluted. That's my problem, right? Is I don't dilute myself enough sometimes. So I think sometimes I don't read the room in the opposite way, and I don't dilute myself enough. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to like read the room. Like if people are laughing, people are having a good time, then people are having a good time. Let them have a good time. You know, that's all there is to it. Like it's tough, and for me, it's always been something it's a struggle for me. The biggest thing I struggle with is when like people are very loved or amazing, and then they can't see that. And I'm just like, brother, like, how can this be hard for you to see? But I understand a lot of people struggle with it. But for me, from my perspective, it's like the funniest thing. I'm like, in what world would Kelmori think that we don't all adore him, like beyond like measurement? How can someone in this situation think that we don't adore him? Like, that's crazy to me. Even when Kel said, when he left the chat after a few weeks ago, and he told me like he was feeling like he was overstaying his welcome. When he left, I was, guess what I thought when he left? Ah, fuck, I'm annoying. He left because I was being annoying. So you see how that works? You see how that works? We all should just learn to love each other and trust that our friends want us around. If they're around, that they want to be around. And if we're, that if someone's spending their time being around you, they want you around, because I mean, that's just, come on, like, it's hard. But yeah, I guess maybe a little added extra thing to the question: how does one deal with that alarm? I think you need to really ask yourself when that alarm goes off is like, there's 10 people in this chat. If I was really being that annoying, is the vibes good? Like, trust me, one person can really bring down the vibes. So if the vibes are good, you're definitely not bringing down the vibes. If the vibes are still good, now on the flip side, if the vibes are down, that doesn't mean that it's your fault, mind you. I just want you to know. But if the vibes are good, you should. And I think the vibes were good during our call a few weeks ago, weren't they? Weren't they? So if the vibes are good, there's no way that you're doing anything wrong whatsoever. If the vibes are bad, now again, yeah. Anyway, but I think, how does one deal with that alarm? One option could be to step away, take a quick breather, go do something else for a minute, and that can involve leaving the call or not. You can say, be right back, and go and just take a few minutes by yourself. Especially as an introvert, you might need to do that in a call. And I want to tell you introverts out there, that tool. Don't be ashamed if you're in a voice call, especially like a group voice call, but even if it's a one-on-one, if you need to take a breather, if you just need a breather to like get yourself together for a bit, you don't want to leave the call, but you need a few minutes like by yourself or to like reset, take that time. And that's really key, especially if you're in a group call. Like, there's no shame in saying like, hey, I'll be back in a bit. And sometimes you might have a valid reason, like I need to go make dinner, or I need to go make a drink, or I need to use the restroom, something like that. But even if you don't have a reason, you don't have to make up a reason, and you don't have to have like a solid reason, like I need to do a thing. The thing can just be, I need a couple minutes to like reset, to think about how the conversation's going, to think about like just kind of like compose myself, because not everyone is, the biggest social butterfly, and like not everyone can just do like an 8-hour call without any break, or a 6-hour call, or a 4-hour call, 2-hour call, 1-hour call, whatever amount of call. So don't be afraid. Like if that alarm goes off in your head, what my advice would be is take a minute. Hey, I'll be right back, guys. And that, again, you can either, maybe you just mute and, maybe walk away from your computer. Maybe you leave the call and say, hey guys, I'll be back in just a little bit, or whatever. But either way, take a few minutes to yourself and really just think about it. And I think like clearing your head and then coming back to the call, might make you realize, like, might make that alarm go away. Like, sometimes alarms go off in life in general, and it's a false alarm. And we have to turn off the alarm. The alarm is going to keep beeping in your ear until you turn it off. So think about that reset as an opportunity. Like what if right now, right? I'm here and I'm sitting here and my smoke alarm goes off, right? Well, I don't think, I'm looking, there's no smoke, right? My fire alarm, that is. Like, oh, there's no smoke. So, like, wonder what that is. Like obviously, like me sitting here and just hearing the alarm go beep, 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 like my tendency is going to be like, okay, well, I need to leave, right? Or like I need to go check on that. Or I can say, or I can take a minute to go check the alarm and see if it's actually something that is a problem. Like if I go downstairs and there's a dang fire in my kitchen, okay, then there's a real, that was a valid alarm. Okay, I probably do need to get away. But more than likely, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to go, oh shit, technology, right? It's like it's breaking. It's a false alarm. And I think a lot of the time you might find that if you take a step back, taking a step back is so important. And I talk about that a lot. Taking a step back is so important. So take a step back and think about it. Give yourself a few minutes to decompress. Again, go grab a snack, go grab a drink, go lay in your bed for 10 minutes and just think about it. And I think that alarm will go away. You gave yourself a chance to reset. And sure, the alarm might beep again in an hour, but give yourself a chance to see if and again, maybe you'll go and you'll have that breather and you'll just go, yeah, I'm just not feeling I'm not feeling it. Like I need to leave the call. That's okay as well if you really feel that need. But I think taking a step back can really help, and just kind of thinking about it and realizing, like, I've been talking, Raity's been laughing at all my jokes. We've been vibing. The vibe has been really good. Everyone's been they've been laughing, joking, having a fun time. The vibe's been good. So there's no reason for me to leave if the vibes are good, And you just have to take a step back, step outside your body for a second and look at it from a third party. Because again, we're all harsh on ourselves, but if you take a minute to like almost have like what is that word? Like an out of body experience, and think about it from an outside perspective for a minute, like try to take yourself out of the equation and just think, would I enjoy this person being in my chat making jokes? I mean, I don't know. Kel, do you enjoy when I make jokes? I think so. So you could easily see how someone likes when people make jokes and try to, be the quote unquote life of the party, or so to speak. So if you like it when I do it, why would you think that other people wouldn't like when you do it? Just as an example, but take a minute, out of body experience, and just think about it. And don't be ashamed, because it might just be that your social battery's burning out because you're a little bit of an introvert. And I'm not saying you are, Kel. I actually don't know if you consider yourself an introvert or not, but you might just be burning out a little bit. Give yourself a little breather. And if you still want to be in the call, just let yourself reset. You need to take care of yourself. So give yourself a little time away. And I bet you giving yourself even 10, 15, 30 minutes to recharge and come back to the call, you'll feel much more recharged and you'll feel a lot better. So give yourself a break. For me, oftentimes I'm on long calls and I have to step away. And I'm not even an introvert, but I just kind of reset. I take a couple minutes. I just kind of you're just like, okay, the conversation's going well, like everything's going good, cool, awesome. So give yourself time. Don't be ashamed to give yourself that time, because it is important, and you deserve that time for yourself to give yourself a breather. So when that alarm goes off, tend to the alarm, check on the alarm, see what the alarm really is about, and just take a few minutes. Don't ignore the alarm. Ignoring it doesn't help. And assuming what if that fire alarm went off and I immediately, instead of going to check if it's like a false alarm or not, I hear that alarm and I just jump out my upstairs window and fall to my death. Not a very good idea, right? So we hear the alarm. Okay, the alarm is valid. Let's go check what is happening. Maybe it's a false alarm. Well, not that the alarm is valid, but okay, I hear this alarm going off. Let's check if it's actually valid or not. And I'm not saying it could never be valid. Maybe you are having bad vibes. With you, Kelmori, I can't ever think of a time that's happened. But it is valid to at least acknowledge the alarm and think about it. And take a few minutes, take as much time as you need, and really assess the situation. Is that alarm valid, or do I just need a little breather? Do I just need a little reset? You might just need a reset. So the alarm is not always valid, and I think that's a good example. Sometimes alarms go off, physical alarms, and there might not be a real cause for concern. They might just be, here's a funny one. When I was at the movies weeks ago, this is the first time it's ever happened. The freaking fire alarm went off there, and I had to leave. I mean, I left the movie because that was the right decision. I at least went out of the theater to investigate, but it was a false alarm. But like, I didn't just sit in the thing and just hear the beeping and be like, fuck this. Like, I'm ignoring that alarm. That would be stupid. But it would also be stupid to just like, what if I just left and like went home? Like, I just walked all the way out of the theater and just drove away like as fast as I can, like 100 miles an hour out of the parking lot. Like, oh shit, the world's ending. Well, I don't know about that either, but you do need to tend to the alarm. But it doesn't mean that something bad is actually happening. You just need to check on it. Just check on it. Like here's another good example. My freaking dog barks a lot. Not a lot. My dog barks sometimes. And there could be multiple things. It could be someone's breaking into my house. It could be someone's at my door. It could be just a car happens to be parked outside, not doing anything wrong, but he hears noise outside of my front door. Not right outside, but like kind of outside my front door, and he's just letting me know that there's something there, right? So I go check. And most of the time, it's not anything major. But I still check on the alarm. I don't just let it go. I go check. Because one of those times, it might be something serious. Or it might just be like, I just need to comfort him. And think of the alarm as you comforting yourself. That alarm is saying, hey, I need a little comforting. So give yourself some love, right? When Jax is barking, I go up and I go, hey, Jax, it's okay, buddy. Like, it's just someone parking outside. They're not going to hurt us. They're just parking on the street. Like, it's normal. No problem. What you might need to do is like, hey, Kelmori, you're having these feelings that you're overstaying your welcome. And that's okay, because we have bad feelings sometimes, but that's not true. And, everyone loves you and they love having you around. So it's okay. Don't worry. So you just need to comfort yourself in that sense, right? And I know it might be hard to do, but it's something you need to work on. It's something we can all improve on. Be kind to yourself and treat yourself like if Kel, if you had a dog, I'm pretty sure you would comfort him if his alarm was going off, so to speak, which is him barking. So think of it like you're comforting yourself. Like, you can comfort a dog, you can comfort your partner, you can comfort your friends. Comfort yourself sometimes. That alarm's going off. Think about the situation. Now, mind you, if Jax is barking and I go downstairs and it's like actually a burglar breaking into my house, oh, fuck yeah, your alarm is valid as fuck. I'm going to deal with that situation. Just like, oh, fuck, like my alarm's going off and wow, actually, yeah, like the vibe has been really low since I've been there. So maybe I'm not going to stick around or whatever. But like, just think about the situation, assess the situation, and take a step away when you need to. That's really, really important. I think that's the best advice I can give. Step away. When you have that alarm, acknowledge the alarm, but don't immediately assume the worst. Take breaks in general. I think taking breaks from voice calls in general is important because, you're pretty much talking all the time on a call, and you might need a break. Give yourself a break. That's important. So, yeah. All right. I think that answered your question good. If not, Kelmori, feel free to ask a follow-up next week, and just know that that you were nowhere near the line of too personal. So don't think like that. Don't think you were anywhere near the person. You can be a lot more personal than that. So yeah, thank you for the question. I'm going to stop this section of the podcast now, and we're going to come back at you with some more questions. Question number 8 is next, and Chili Mex has some good questions coming. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Keep your eyes open for that. It's going to be real good. Well, I guess your ears open for that. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. My friends, hello. I know for you, no time passed, but for me, it's a whole 24 hours later, and we are on to the second half of our lovely questions and, the podcast as a whole. We're on part 2, second half. Let's go. Alrighty. Question number 8. I was gonna save this, but I guess there's really no reason that we have to save the more serious questions. So we're just gonna do this one. This is by Chili Mex. It's weird to see his name typed in lowercase. Chili Mex, why don't you type your name in all caps like me? Come on, brother. Okay. Anyway, The question is, loneliness and dissatisfaction are not fun. And feeling like you're missing that special someone or something in your life, even when you're surrounded by good things and great people who care about you, is not fun either. So, whether this feeling has ever hit you or not, would you deal with it? Okay, very, very valid question, and it has hit me plenty in my life. So I think I can talk to it, and it's a very common feeling. Um, in general, right? In general, people are hard on themselves, and people, in regards, and in that sense, I mean, like, I'm trying to think how to explain it, but basically, like, people are hard on themselves when they feel bad for wanting more in life or wanting something else or wanting it's always natural, like, even if you have a lot of good things in your life, it's always natural to want more, whatever that may be. You have a great partner and you have great friends, well, maybe you want to get a great job, for example, or if you have great friends and a great job, maybe you want to have a great partner. You know what? So it's like, you don't have to be hard on yourself in the sense of like, oh, I have these good things, but I still want this too. Like, that is totally understandable and normal. So, first off, I would say don't be hard on yourself, for wanting that. So that's step one. Don't beat yourself up, for wanting more. And, we can, I think this question can go out to other people too, who maybe they have a partner, but maybe they'd like to get more involved in the fandom, make more friends, or they'd like to, grow their stream, or, they have other aspirations. And like, I think just in general, like, having things you want or aspirations in life, I mean, that's kind of a very that's an extremely important thing in life. So yeah, I think anyone could benefit from hearing this. I feel like, just, yeah, basically, it's okay to want more. You might have a lot of great things in your life, but keep on aiming for more, whatever that may be that you're aiming for. Keep on aiming for it, and keep on working to achieve it. And yeah, so Chili Max is talking a little more specifically about the way I read the question is looking for a romantic partner, and that's how I interpret this question. So that's what I'm going to talk to a bit more. But if I'm interpreting the question wrong, feel free to ask a follow-up, and I will talk more on, if I need to take a different direction, then I will. But I'm interpreting this as wanting a partner. So how do you deal? I mean, you don't, I guess really step one, once again, don't beat yourself up over it. So that's step one to dealing with it. You don't have to be like, damn, I'm horrible. Like, I have these good things and I want love, like, there's nothing to beat yourself up for. So that's step one. That's step one of dealing with it. I mean, really, step two would be, so this is kind of specifically what I was talking about. So you might remember, I think it was during podcast prequel number 2, which was like my second little weekly series right before we started the podcast, where I was talking about how, you can have a nucleus in life, where that's like your biggest focus, like something you really want or you want to achieve, etc. But you have other kind of, not putting all your eggs in one basket, sort of. So like, you have this main goal, but you also have other things in your life. So what I try to do personally, is I focus on those other things, right? Which, for me, it's a lot of time I'm putting into my I don't even want to say streaming, because I'm not putting any more time into streaming, but the whole RaIety Stream-O-Matic universe, hosting more events and doing YouTube videos and doing the podcast and, continuing to do the streams, like all the things that go into that. I guess content creation would be the correct blanket coverall for what I'm doing. So yeah, I mean, focus on other things that, if you feel the need to be distracted, but also you don't have to feel bad about wanting a partner or wanting love. Like, there's nothing inherently bad about that. No matter what else you have in life, you can still want that as well. And I mean, I do, and I have a lot of great things, people, hobbies, a lot of good things going in my life. So there's nothing wrong with that. So don't beat yourself up. And what my advice would be is to put some time into other things that you like. Another thing I've been doing a lot is watching a lot of movies this year. I know you know that because we've talked about a lot of movies this year. So yeah, I mean, just kind of focus on those other things, and it's okay to still want a partner as well. And I would say distractions are usually the best way to deal with any bad feelings. We talked about it last week, I believe, with Gaby's question about like when you have bad feels, what do you do? For me, distractions, and it can be whatever you like. Some people like to distract themselves with games. Some people like to distract themselves with, like working out or something, or do a stream, or like, I don't know, frickin' make some YouTube video, whatever it may be. Like for me, I've been putting a lot of effort into my content creation. And so I think distractions are a good way to deal with it as well. But again, the only reason you would need to do that is if you're feeling bad about it. Yeah, I guess, I guess I didn't read that first part of the question as well as I thought, but like loneliness and dissatisfaction. So like how, like, yourself, how you deal with loneliness. So like, what is the best is the strategy for you? For me, when I'm feeling lonely, sometimes I like to join Twitch streams and chat. I know for me, I've talked about it before, but like sometimes I can feel kind of lonely at night. For me, I watch the Game Orchestra stream, some nights, and then Yasha's stream on some other nights. But like, I watch those streams and I chat and like I'm surrounded by people, and it's a nice time. So like that's one thing I do. But yourself, like what, and maybe the answer is nothing. But like what helps you with loneliness? So is it like going to be in Twitch chats, or is it like going into, chatting in Discord servers, getting on a voice call with people? Even just like going on Twitter and kind of like chatting with people on Twitter, whatever the best way for you is. So assuming none of that helps and you just have that lonely feeling like you want a partner loneliness, I would say the distraction would be the best play in that sense. Play a game, do something like that, go play with Rocky, go give him belly rubs. I mean, I don't know, whatever you want to do, whatever is the best way for you, whatever, like try things. It's okay to not know, because for me, for a while, I would try to use games as like a distraction, like just games. Like technically my content creation is around games, so I'm still playing games, but like just games weren't very satisfying for me anyway, as a means of distraction. So that's kind of why I put my focus into kind of working on stuff for the stream and the community and everything. So like for me, that's the best way I need to be productive. For you, it might be different, and maybe playing some games will be helpful for you. So find out what works well for you. But again, it's not a bad thing, and that's step number one. And I know I've said it like 10 times now. Don't beat yourself up though. Like, it's okay, Chili Mex, you deserve love. You're a great guy. You deserve love. And yeah, I mean, another thing is, and this is kind of a tangent because you're just talking about the how to deal with those feelings when you're feeling them. But another thing is, Chili Mex, let me just tell you, an important way, and people say this a lot too, so you've probably heard this before, and I know it's something you struggle with, and I know it's not easy, and you're gonna say like, right, I can't do that. But listen, a very, very, very important first step before you can truly find love, and you're gonna punch me in the head for saying this, is to love yourself, because you need to be able to know, you need to feel worthy of being loved. And I'm sure, I know you, Chili Mex, and I'm sorry to say, I'm sure you don't feel that. So step one, love yourself. Think about some things that would make you, and oh, here we go. He's gonna say something negative about himself. Think about the things that make you a good partner, and there's many. Do you want me to give you the list? I'll have to write the list. You tell me if you want the list. I'll give you a killer list. But there are many things, and we all have things, right? And you can't truly, have a good relationship if you're not, conscious of the things that are good about you. It's kind of like, to put it on a silly analogy, right? It's the same. It's not the same thing, but it's similar, literally. To and you guys might laugh at this because it's kind of a ridiculous analogy, but it's really not. And it's like it's similar to applying for a job, right? You're going to a job, and they want to know what makes you qualified for the job. Well, the same thing happens when you have a partner, or you meet a partner, or you get in a relationship. They're looking for things about you that qualify you to be their partner, and everyone has different things that they're looking for, right? That they need. I know in my head I have a list of things that I absolutely need in a partner, and then I have some things that would be nice but not necessary, and then some things that don't really matter. Same thing when you're applying for a job. There's definitely things like you need to be knowledgeable in Excel, for example, or whatever. You need to have this or that, and some things that are like, okay, it's nice, like this is good if they have it. So I mean, that's step one. Like if I went into I used this analogy earlier in this episode of the podcast, but like when I got the job that I'm working, I was not qualified. On paper, I was not qualified, and if I walked in there like, well, I kind of freaking suck, yo, I wouldn't have got the job. So I went in there and I had confidence in that I can be these things even if I'm not even if I'm not like fully like 1000% confident. Like I know I can do these things, and you need to be able to acknowledge the good things about yourself, Chili Mex, and what you can really bring. And think about it just on a basic level, like that you can have. You're a sweet guy. You can have nice conversations with people. You're a great talker. You can like at a core you have those things, and you have many other things. We won't get into the whole list here, but like. Yeah, there's plenty of things that you could list. I promise you could make a full list, and it's important to know those things about yourself. And you need to be able to appreciate those things and say hey, I know, I have these good things about me that would make me a desirable partner. And yeah, it's cliche, but you really do have to love yourself before you can truly find love. And you don't have to love everything about yourself. No one's perfect. I could write a list of my flaws just as long as the list of good things I could write about myself. But you know what? That's okay. We're all perfectly imperfect, as they say. But yeah, I hope that was relatively helpful and answered your question, Chili Mex. As always, feel free to write a follow-up next week if I didn't cover something enough. But I hope that I mostly covered it. If I didn't, I'm very sorry, and I look forward to seeing your part 2 of the question next week if there's more for me to say. But yeah, just kind of don't beat yourself up. There's nothing wrong with wanting more in life, wanting a partner, wanting anything. You do have to work for it. And I think step 1 of putting in that work, Chili Mex, I think your step 1 is loving yourself a little more, finding some good things about yourself that you can appreciate, and going from there. I think that'll be a good start. So try it. Just try it. For me, try it. Okay? Alrighty. Guys, question number 9 coming up. And this is from Chili Mex as well. And the question, the reason I said on is because the first word in the question is on, and I read it. So I'm going to have a little sip of coffee. Hold on one sec. All right. I had a late night last night. Party on the Chili Mex birthday extravaganza. Wow, 11 hours I was on call yesterday. Dear God. All right. The question is, on a lighter note that's still related to what was discussed this week, how do you actually find the motivation to go to the gym or just work out so often? What's the thing that actually manages to defeat the laziness and tiredness, assuming you are or ever were remotely as lazy as I am? So for me, here's the thing for me, right? And this is, my whole life is based around routine and like things that I do. Right? So to give you some examples, I think you guys know I have a very strict bedtime on the weekdays, and it is ridiculous how good I am at sticking to it. I am like literally when the clock strikes 11 o'clock, my phone goes down and I go to bed. I mean, give or take within a couple minutes, but I am really routine oriented. I wake up at the same time every day. I go to bed at the same time every day. I take, my lunch break at work at the same time every day. I do the same things most days. You guys know my stream schedule, extremely consistent. I do the same things every day. On Wednesdays, I talk to my parents. It's the same thing. I have all these things in my week that within my days and my weeks. On Sundays, I do the podcast. On Sundays, Mondays, I upload the schedule for the week. Like, everything I do has routine, and that includes working out and getting exercise in general. For me, once I get in a routine, I don't like, it's the same thing as like when I wake up on Tuesday, I don't think like, I'm not feeling too great today. What if I just don't stream? No, it's Tuesday. I have to stream. And same thing on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I lift weights. There's no, I don't feel that good today, or unless, unless I'm actually like really sick or something. Like, there's no thinking about not doing it. It's my routine. I do it. Like, I don't think, like, I get between 10 and 15,000 steps every day, sometimes more. But like, there's not a world where I'm like, today I won't get steps. No, that's what I do. It's my routine every day. There's no, I'm not doing it today. It's my routine. So I think just get in the routine, and the hardest part of getting a routine in general is starting the routine. Same reason I've been successful at uploading a YouTube video every day, because that's been a routine, right? So, just get a routine started. Choose days that you want to, and then you don't have a choice. Like, on those days, well, I know it's a little more difficult for you because your work schedule changes, which unfortunately I would not be good in a world where my work schedule changed. I like routine, but choose days, and try to choose it at a time, I guess, where maybe you could. Like, I don't know, your work schedule and stuff. Like, I rarely work in the mornings on Tuesdays or something, so I'll do it in the morning every day, and I'll choose these days, specifically choosing days where I don't usually work in the morning, for example, or whatever it may be. But set yourself a routine, and I think that'll make it much easier. If the easier option for you is like, I need to go 3 times a week, but it'll vary because I have my work schedule, that's okay too. But you have to dedicate yourself to getting it in 3 times. And, whether it be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or like Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, whatever it may be, just choose a number of days that you're comfortable with and make sure that you do it. And yeah, it sounds easier said than done, but I promise once you get in a routine, it's much easier to keep it. So you just need to get yourself in a routine of doing it, and soon it will be habit. Just like, I don't know, you watch my stream every Tuesday and Thursday. That's your routine. So get in a routine that also, benefits your body. It's really good. And like, I know you were thrown off by the fact I loved it. Chili Mix did something really funny this week. I don't even remember. He said like, I'm what did he say? Like he said, what was that? Dang it. It was so funny. He said like, he considers working out his break. I'm having heart palpitation. He said something really funny, and I was dying laughing. But but keep in mind, Chili Mex, you can enjoy those workout times. For me, I don't have a lot of times in my week where I can just sit and like listen to music or like watch videos and stuff like that. So like, depending on what kind of workout you're doing, like I like cardio a lot because I can just like put on a YouTube video and watch it while I'm doing cardio, for example. Or, and that's assuming like a treadmill, an elliptical, Stairmaster, whatever you want to do. That kind of like, you're kind of standing in the same place, or like the recumbent bike. Is that what it's called? Where you're sitting and you bike. Yeah. But anyway, whatever of those you like, just use it as a time. Like, yeah, sure. Like working out like isn't necessarily fun, but you're watching like a video, like it's not that bad. You don't have to like kill yourself working out. Like you can do whatever level you're comfortable with and just gradually work your way up. So like, just do something you like whatever it may be. Like, I really like, for me, like I would watch, this sounds egotistical, but I would watch some of my old funny VODs, and I would watch those while working out, and I really enjoyed that. It's kind of silly, but it's fun. So find something you like, whether that be, oftentimes for me, it's music. Like depending on the workout, I pop in my AirPods and like get to it. But if it's something where you can watch a video, hey, watching a video is a great idea too. You can catch up on some vaRAIety YouTube videos. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, brother. But no, just do something you enjoy while doing it, whether that be music or a video, whatever it may be, listening to a podcast. Wink, wink, wink. Yeah, so do something enjoyable while you do it. For me, that's the reason why I look forward to working out, is because for me, it's an opportunity to just kind of, I don't have to think like, oh, I should be doing something else, because I'm doing something productive while I'm watching that video or something. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not feeling guilty for watching an hour video because, hey, at least I'm getting exercise while I'm doing it, or you know what I mean? So do something you like while doing it. Step number 1, get in a routine. Step number 2, do something you like listen to music or watching a video or whatever it may be while you're doing it. So, but yeah, definitely step 1, get in the routine. So set yourself a goal, and you might fail it at first, but work toward it. And once you get a few weeks in of getting that routine done, oh baby, you crushing it. I have a lot of confidence. And if you need me to hold you accountable, talk to me, and I'm happy to check in on you and see how it's going. If you went to the gym, I have no problem with that. So let me know if you need a little motivation, if you'll be more likely to go so that you don't let me down, then let me know, and I will check in on you, brother. All right. Thanks for the question, Chili Max. All right, question number 10 from Game Orca, and the question is: thoughts on the Five Nights at Freddy's series, if you have any. So I'm not gonna say I have a whole ton of thoughts. I'm not a Five Nights at Freddy's expert. I don't even know how many games there are now. Let me tell you all the ones I know. I know there's 1 through 3, and then there's I think there's Security Breach, and there's there's another one with a funny name. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to pretend to be knowledgeable, but I think the idea is cool. I watched the movie in theaters last year, and I was actually really excited for the movie, and I enjoyed the movie. I think FNAF is cool. I don't necessarily love the gameplay, I would say, but I do think it's cool. It's not for me per se, but I do love the atmosphere, and I will say, and this is something I rarely say about horror games, playing FNAF 1, it was one of the only times I can remember being genuinely kind of unnerved. I didn't necessarily get jump scared, but it genuinely had me uncomfortable in a way that few horror things can actually do, to me. So I think it's really cool. It's a cool series, and I enjoy it. Again, something I more enjoy the idea of versus the actual gameplay. I think it's a really cool idea, and the atmosphere is good, and it's cool. But let me tell you how much time I have on FNAF. I have I don't have any time. I think I must have. I swear I have. Wonder where. Huh. Well, Steam says I have 0 hours, I think. But I swear I have played to some extent. So did I play on a different platform? I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think FNAF is cool. And yeah, I'm not an expert by any means, but it's a cool concept. And I'm sure I'll watch the next movie. Because again, I like the concept. I think the movie did a good job. And I liked watching Markiplier play it, for example, back in the day. I'm just not that interested in playing it myself. I don't find it particularly fun. But I will say it did unnerve me in a way that few horror experiences ever have. So, hey, good job. Good job. All right. Question number 11. Thanks, Game Orca, for question number 10. Question number 11. What is your least favorite Pokemon video game? Thanks, Game Orca. All right. Game Orca says, yo, we don't have time for any more of this stupid positivity, Raichu. Tell me what you hate. So, I'm not really sure I can actually say it's my most hated, because, again, it's a challenge for me because I never really thought about what I most hate, because I don't know, I don't do that. But what I can say is the first Pokemon game that really, what's the word? Really kind of let me down, and I was just kind of sad about, was Pokemon Sun and Moon. And it just kind of held your hand too much, and it felt very just kind of dumbly hand-holding me, and it was kind of annoying in that regard. So I would say Sun and Moon is the one that kind of first hurt my heart. It felt very, very hand-holdy. Like you know the tutorials pop up all the time and stuff, and it's like, hey, did you know you go to a Pokemon Center to heal your Pokemon? And I understand that in this day and age, people need that, but I don't want that. You know, like I don't want that. Like the greatest thing about Pokemon Red and Blue, playing that, and I know it's like people are gonna say like, oh well, you're just glorifying the old days, like, but that's not actually better because it's good to be told what to do. But like that, the greatest part of that was just like figuring out what to do. Like you don't really know where to go exactly or what to do. You can kind of figure it out, and that's part of the fun for me is figuring things out. So when games handhold you a little bit, that is for me. There is a balance, right? Like you need some level of help because otherwise you're playing Alone in the Dark 1 and you have to figure out that you have to freaking shoot arrows at another painting. But there is balance, and I do understand the fact that, yeah, it is important to have some level of, like, help me a little bit. But there is, to an extent, right? Don't tell me, like, every 5 seconds, here's a pop-up, and here's what you need to do here. You're like, don't do all that. Just give me a little hint, but I don't need a frickin' walkthrough every 1 second saying, did you know you can catch Pokemon? Yes, I freaking knew that, dum-dum. So that's why I'm going to say that game. The games after that did similar things, which also frustrate me, but and I think they were headed that way in Gen 6, which is what's that freaking gen called? X and Y. They were headed that way for sure already in Gen 6, but for me it didn't feel as much as when I played Sun and Moon, and I was like, no. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents, but thanks for the game question, Game Orca. Sorry, I was trying to think of what to say. I was going to say question, but then I said game, and so I had to fix it by saying game question. But anyway, thanks, Game Orca. All right, question number 12. If you could be a professional at any competitive video game, which one would you choose and why? So which one makes the most money? I'm just kidding. That's probably League, right? I don't know. That's a great question. So it wouldn't be League of Legends unless if we're talking about money, probably it should be League of Legends nowadays, right? I don't know. Fortnite? I don't know. I think there's some good options here. League of Legends, I'm going to say no. I'm going to take out the money factor. I'm going to assume this is about passion for the game. League of Legends, I love the game of League of Legends, but I don't ever want to play it too seriously. I don't like taking it seriously. So, League of Legends, no. Let's think of other games. So, like, Counter-Strike would be a good option. I've been playing Counter-Strike for 20 years now, and I used to even be into the pro scene a little bit. Like knowledgeable about it, I would say. And I played like competitive Counter-Strike on some level, not like a real pro, obviously, but like I played long enough that I had some level of talent, I guess. But so that's a valid choice. And I think Counter-Strike would be up there on my list. So I'm going to put that high on the list as of now, but we're going to go through some other games that are possibilities that jump into my head. Something like Fortnite, I think would be cool. And what I like about Fortnite is I do like the ability, like, unlike something like Counter-Strike where you're going to be playing as a team all the time, Fortnite also has that, like if you play professional Fortnite, I assume you can play solos and squads and stuff. So it has that, like, I like the dynamicness of being able to, like, I can go in as a duo and there's like different strategies for the different, game modes. Like I can do a duos, or I can do trios, or squads, or solo. Like I think that's really cool, and so I actually might put Fortnite at the top of my list right now. As far as choices, I might put that at the top because that sounds very appealing. Sometimes I like just playing games solo, and being able to play like competitive solo Fortnite does sound fun. But I also like the ability I could grab my bestie and I could go play duos, or I could grab a few, friends. We've got a squad. Let's go squad. Like, there's different options, and I think that's really a cool idea. So I think I might put Fortnite at the top. I don't know about financially how good Fortnite professionals do, but we're not talking about finances because I said that. I already said that. We're not talking about that. And those are really the only ones that jump out. I could say Left 4 Dead 2, which is probably that's my favorite game to play competitively. But and definitely the game that I'm the most good at ever in my life. But I would say it probably has less. It has a little less longevity in general. Like there's not the well. I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because like now, like, are we talking about like 15 years ago being a professional? Like that sounds awesome, but like nowadays, like the community's so small. Like I feel like the competitive scene would be really small too. So I don't know. It's hard to say. That's my favorite game, but I think I would put Fortnite at the very top because it has that flexibility of I can be a pro in solos and I can just do my thing when I don't want to be communicating with others and I just want to do my thing. And if I want to squad up with my boys, then I can do that, you know? So I think that's cool. So I'm going to say Fortnite. I don't know if people would have predicted that. And then I can finally get you that win, Game Orcus. So even better, brother. Even better. All right. And now, question number 13 from Game Orca. It says, are there any Persona species you don't like or would never see yourself having? All right, so that's a very good question. That's a good question. Are there Persona species I don't like? Oh, he really wants me to hurt someone's feeling. So whose feelings am I gonna hurt? Let's think here. Nothing really jumped out when you said that you don't like. I like any. I mean, honestly. I guess for me, right? For me, I'm more like I like anything that's like cute. You know what I mean? Like I like cute personas, and any species can be drawn in such a way that is cute, and any species really can have like a cute fursuit. Like, so I would say in that sense, nothing jumps out at me. As long as it's cute, that's what matters to me. So like for me, and I'm not like insulting like anyone who's like you know finds that appealing about a character, but like you know like a super ultra like ridiculously muscular Bara guy like a Sona, whatever species it was, would be less appealing to me than like something cute. So I would say in general, I don't. There's not any species that I think I don't like. I just like cute things, and any species can be drawn in a cute way. What would you never see yourself having? I think the list on that is pretty short as well. Well, I guess the list on that is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of interesting, and it kind of requires more thought. I would have to go through every species and really think about it a lot, and it really takes some I mean, like, you know, I have a Buizel character, but I really like wouldn't see myself as being a Buizel. You know, so like it took me some time to realize, like, yeah, I guess I really don't see myself as a Buizel. I would say like certain species I just and it's interesting. A lot of like species I really like, I don't think I would see myself being, if that makes sense. Which I adore them. Like they're super freaking cute. Like my favorite things in the world. Like Buizel's a good example. Red Panda, I think, is another good example. Like I don't think I would be a red panda. Like I'm more of a raccoon guy. I see myself as being, but I freaking adore red pandas. So like it's like sometimes, like for me anyway, and I don't know if this is how other people see it as well. Some things I just really like, but I don't see myself as them. And it's interesting how that kind of lines up with things I super love, like the S tier of species on my list, but I don't, or like some of the ones I couldn't see myself being. Does that make sense? I hope so. But yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, really connecting with a character, there's been so few over the years. They're really the only two I've ever super ultra connected with are Raichu and Raiju. You know, Raichu and a dragon. So I think it takes time to kind of. That's kind of why I've tried things. You know, like the dragon was just trying to see if it feels like it was a good fit for me, and it was. It felt great. So that was awesome. But like, you know, I had a raptor character. I'm not sure if I really connected with him as much as I should have. And I have a lot of arts of him too. And I really like the character, but I don't think I connected with him all that super well. And that's okay because it took me a while to feel that. And, you know, same with a lot of other characters I had. You know, I've talked about it, but like I always wanted to have a raccoon character, and and I didn't end up doing it. I ended up having that raptor instead at the time. But I always wanted to have a raccoon character, call him Raccoon. You get it? Because it's not like raccoon, but it has an I in there. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that. Like, my plan is maybe even to get a fursuit of that in 2025. Wink, wink. So like, I'm going to go pretty heavy into it, and I hope that it will stick. I hope that it will fit me. I think it does. But you never really know. At least I don't ever really know until I actually get some time in their shoes. You know how there's like that saying, like, you don't know how someone's, like, you don't know someone until you walk a mile in their shoes, or whatever the saying goes. Basically saying, like, unless you're in their shoes, you don't really understand. Like, I don't understand what it's like to be a raccoon until I'm a raccoon. So I gotta try it out. You know what I mean? So yeah, basically that's how I feel about Persona species. Is you got to kind of try it out. Like, it can seem appealing, and you never really know. Even like I made the comment earlier, like Buizel. I tried being a Buizel and it didn't really feel right, you know. But I haven't tried being a red panda. Shoot, maybe someday I'll be a red panda and it'll be like, wow, that was dumb of me. I'm actually the best red panda. No, I'm just kidding. I won't be the best, but I'll be pretty cool. But you never know. You never know. So, you know, that I think it's important for me anyway to keep my mind open. And like, there's many things, like, instinctively I could say, like, I'd never be a fox. But would I never be? Well, I don't know about that. You never know. I'm just saying. So yeah, I think for me, it's just about being open-minded. You guys, you know me. I'm like the guy. I'm always pretty open-minded, and you know, so I guess that's what I'm saying, is that there's probably not any species I genuinely don't like. I just like things that are cute. So if they're drawn cutely, I love it. And I think I try to not block myself out of any species, or like any species that I haven't tried being. I would say has the possibility that I could try being it in the future, because you know, you never know. So thank you for the wonderful question. Oh, also, yeah, like other like even like kitty cat, like I vibe pretty good with Raimu. Like, I feel pretty okay being kitty cat. Not on the level, like, it's a distant third place in terms of my vibing with, but I still like it. So like, that's when, for example, Raimu started out as like a kind of a not a joke per se, but like, oh, let's just try this out, and it felt pretty good. So you know, I'm happy about that. So yeah, I just keep my mind open in that regard, and you never know where life will take you. So let the road take you where it will, and stuff. Hooray! Thanks for the question, Game Orca. All right, so one last topic as we close out the week, and I think this will be a nice positive note to end on, kind of an inspirational quote unquote ending. So I heard this. Where did I hear this? I think I actually read this on Reddit this week. Something talking about something similar to this. Maybe it was Reddit. I don't remember. But anyway, the idea is basically, I'm going to read what I typed out here, and then I'll explain it. It says, half-assing things you don't care about, whole-assing things you do care about. So basically what that means, and if in case there's some non-English speakers here, half-assing something basically means not putting more effort into something than you necessarily need to, right? So like, if I half-assed my homework, it would mean like I didn't work that hard on it. I just kind of like, oh, I have an essay due. Oh, I'm just gonna half-ass it, and it means like, you know, not doing it. Like, I didn't spend like meticulously making sure the essay was amazing. I just kind of threw it together. So the idea behind this theory of half-assing things you don't care about and whole-assing things you do care about is like, you don't have to put an unnecessary amount of effort into things. So like, if there's something you don't really like doing, for example, that can be done without putting in all the effort, like so let me give like an example. Like in their careers, there's a lot of people, and I hate this, like a lot of my boomer coworkers, they are like all in 24/7. They put their whole ass into their work, and they're the people that like want to be on call and take calls after after hours and work 12 hours just to say they did it. Like, and it's so ridiculous to me because they don't get anything. They have the same job I do. They get paid the same as I do, and they put in this ridiculous amount of effort, like a crazy amount of effort. And then they're burnt out and they're like, oh, I haven't done anything fun or taken a vacation. Like, there's someone at my job that has the same role as I do, and they have taken 0 vacation days this year. On the flip side, I believe I've taken 22 is the number I've taken so far, I think. They've taken 0. We have the same job, the same pay, and we are looked at basically as, in my opinion anyway, at least from what my boss tells me, I'm amazing. So we're looked at the same, and this person's taken no vacation. They work 12 hours all the dang time. They don't do anything fun. For me, I don't want to say I half-ass my job because that's probably being a little disingenuous, but I don't put in more effort than I have to. I get my job done so that I can spend my, I don't like kill myself doing my job. There's no reason to do that because it doesn't, unless the caveat is unless you really, really, really love that job so much that that's like your number one hobby and you just care about it so much. Like, and there are people who have jobs like that, but in the sense that, like, if you are working just a normal 9-to-5 job, like a normal career, and it's just whatever, you're just doing a job because you need to make money in this world. Like, there's no reason to put your whole ass into that, right? Like, there's no reason to put so much effort in that you can't enjoy other things. When you could be putting in less effort into that, doing your job, doing it well enough, but not killing yourself, and then you have more time to put your whole ass into things you do care about, whatever that may be, whether it be streaming, speed running, talking to your friends, like being there for your friends, like going to, watching movies, playing video games, whatever you really like doing, you have like so much more capacity to put your full heart into doing those things that you really, really like. If you, and again, I don't want to say half-assed, but like if you put a little less effort into the things that you don't care about, such as a job or whatever it may be, like you don't break your back doing things that don't fulfill you. Like, yes, you still have to do those things. Like, yeah, we have to work. It's kind of cringe. And we have to like do chores around our house. We have to like, clean our house and do stuff like that we don't necessarily like to do. But your time is an asset and your energy is an asset. So don't waste too much of those assets on things that, like, evaluate your situation and think, like, could I be putting in a little less effort here somewhere so that I can put a little more effort into something else? Like, maybe you're someone who's gone like absolutely insane and you're streaming every single day for hours and it's your hobby, but you're maybe putting a little like more effort. You take a step back and you're like, I'm putting more effort here than I want to be. And maybe I could be taking some of that effort and put it into something else, like spending time with friends or something, like, whatever it may be. But like, yeah, I guess just evaluate the effort you're putting into things and things that you might be able to do with a little less effort, and just kind of open that possibility to give more of yourself and more of your effort into something that you really, really, really care about even more. And you don't have to say like, oh, I don't care about my job at all. Like, you could say like I care about my job and I'm genuinely happy enough working there, but I don't care about it more than streaming or spending time with friends or doing this podcast. So I put those efforts that I saved from not overdoing it in one area, and I put them into something else that fulfills me more. So yeah, I guess it's just important to utilize your time and your resources in a way that fulfills you. So think about that. If you find yourself spending too much effort on things that aren't fulfilling you, if you could cut it back a little bit in that area and put it into something more fulfilling, that would be I think that's a good idea. And I do speak from a place of privilege. I'm aware that not everyone can put less effort into, for example, their job and be okay. So I understand that I'm privileged, but just try to keep the balance in a way that you can feel fulfilled, because it's an important thing. It really is. So yeah. So that is about it, my friends. I think that is all I've got for you this week. I'm looking at my list. We're pretty good. We answered all the questions, and I think this is going to be a wrap on episode 5. We have done it. We have completed the amazing vaRAIety podcast episode 5. Clap, 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 clap. thank you guys for being here with me. Thank you for listening. As always, I really appreciate it. Everyone is extremely kind, and I'm always very grateful. It's really funny. I think of how lucky I am that like in my life, people have always been very. I'm very like disarmingly. I disarm even people who are normally not that nice. It's really funny. Like I've lived such a life where like people that I've always been told like they're not nice, for example, have always been so incredibly nice to me, and I think I'm very disarming. At you know not nice people are really nice to me, and nice people are also really nice to me. Everyone's freaking nice to me, dude. It's crazy. So thank you for being nice to me. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for your support of the podcast. And we've got a big week of streams ahead, guys. Chili Mex's birthday stream on Tuesday, and finishing Hollow Body on Thursday, along with our Halloween spectacular. If we have some extra time, let's finish off October strong. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. I look forward to hearing your peep. What am I saying? I don't want to hear your pee. I was gonna say I look forward to hearing your, and I combined the first letter of podcast with I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Anyway, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the episode. I am a crazy guy. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, guys.